Hello and welcome back to Fist Entertainment for my review of 2012's The Bourne Legacy. Alright, well I know that this film is not a fan favorite. A lot of people actually do not like this one. Well, I get a sense of deja vu about this film. For the same reasons is a Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. People do not like this movie because it's not a Jason Bourne movie. What people need to understand is that that shouldn't be a reason to hate this movie. Now, this film did not get a lot of critic fare or even exception at the cinemas back in 2012. But this is a good movie. Believe it or not, it's actually a good standalone action movie. Is it as good as the first three films? When it comes down to that, I do agree with the critics. Give me a second here, people. This doesn't seem loud enough for me. Put it into room mode on the microphone. Let's see how that works. Oh yeah, way, way better. But yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, people hated Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift for the same reasons that people hate this movie. It's different. But different's good. I think after three films, and of course the story of Jason Bourne being done. I mean, Robert Lefton didn't write any more of the Bourne books. The story was done. So this is really just a script written by a director. I mean, the director of the movie actually wrote the script to this movie. So it's definitely different in lots and lots of ways. And, well, I thought it was fun. I thought it was good. It is inferior to the first three, like I said. The first three were much more story-driven. This one's more just a quick pro quo, plot-driven action movie. But it's good. I say it's very interesting to see a character actor like Jeremy Renner be in a movie like this, because we're also used to seeing them playing Hawkeye or doing some sort of comedy movie or being in a drama like The Hurt Locker. That we don't really get to see him make hard-hitting action movies like this. And he's a very big character actor. I mean, after all, to this day, I still think that he did the best portrayal of Jeffrey Dahmer in the movie Dahmer back in early 1990s. Something that people don't know about him is that was him. Watched on Netflix. That's how I watched it. Deranged fucking movie, I might add. And I can say that because, like I said, the Bourne films are not for children. I made that very, very clear, and I'll make it clear again. The Bourne franchise is not meant for children, so I will not be saying yes, appropriate for children on these videos for the Bourne films. I may have done that on the Bond movies. I may have done that on the Mission Impossible films. I will not be doing it on the Bourne films. And I say it's a little bit of a stretch to say that James Bond is appropriate for children as well, but, children watch that. When it comes down to the Bourne films, I think it's pretty safe to say that parents usually will probably intervene with the Bourne films. They're pretty elaborate in every shape and form. All right, the plot of the movie. The plot of this film is a little complicated, but I'll make it less complicated for you. It takes place during the fourth act as well as after the events of the Bourne Ultimatum. Basically, we see it from another perspective. We see it from a another operative's perspective. The character of Aaron Cross, played by Jeremy Renner. He was on a training exercise in Alaska. And while he's completing his task, the powers to be at the Central Intelligence Agency decide to end the project, and they do so by something that was talked about by Nikki Parsons, Julia Stiles' character in the previous 3 films, but really explored more in this movie, is that these operatives, when they're active, are always taking these body, genetic, and mind-manipulated drugs, and they're regularly taking them. And so at the same time as our main character, Aaron Cross, is attacked by a drone attack in Alaska, blowing up a federal operative he was in training with, and him going on a run, masking his tracking beacon inside of his thigh, all that stuff. Pills are switched out with all the remaining operatives and replaced with a mysterious pill, which we of course figure out is actually cyanide. And all the operatives, all of them, but Aaron Cross, are eliminated by the Central Intelligence Agency. Withdrawing from not having the pills that he has been reliable on, he is in desperate need of more. So he rescues one of the scientists who worked on the Treadstone, as well as other self-implant programs, from being eliminated as well, and they go on the run from the powers to be in control of all of this, in hopes that she can sympathize a substitute for the blue and green pills that he takes. Meanwhile, controversy is stricken in pretty much the court system, and cover-ups kind of get put into play to blame it all on our heroine character from the last 2 films, Landy, played by Joan Allen, and yeah, eventually they just take out an operative, very good one, just on their tail, and basically drive off into the wind into a place far, far away, and that's pretty much how the movie ends. So like I said, complicated, but yet not that complicated if you think about it. What's interesting is this film, The Bourne Legacy, is actually quite similar to the original 1970s, 1980s original adaptation of the Bourne identity. Unlike the trilogy that came before this, which is far closer to the book series. But I suspect that the dependence on medical pills to enhance stimula, intelligence, and strength and stuff like that did play a lot in the Robert Letton novels when I read them myself. But I do remember in the original movie, before they made the Jason Bourne movies as we know them now, that did play a lot into that movie. It definitely does play a lot into this movie. Alright, quality of the movie. Again, this was made long within Blu-ray's existence, so it may have been shot in 2.35.1 widescreen, but is presented in 2.40.1 widescreen, like the previous film, The Bourne Ultimatum. It is in 1080p, full high definition. This film was originally preceded as a 1080, 2K, digital intermedia, so don't expect this to translate well to 4K either. Just like the last 3 films, this would be an upconvert in the box set that exists that has these in 4K. I've done my research on the 4K set. That's basically what they said. The picture, this one's actually brighter. It still has that very digital look to it, but it's probably the brightest and more neutral looking Bourne film of them so far. It doesn't have that either overly cool or overly warm color temperature. The blacks are not nearly as deep in this movie as they were in the previous three. To me, it's a little disappointing. I think that when you have the deeper blacks and you have it looking even more digital, it just tends to be cooler, but it still does look a lot like a digital movie. But this one is closer to a film reel looking movie. It's closer to a film movie versus a digital movie. But that said, it's upsetting because we're so used to actually having these Bourne films being digital. So for this one to be less digital than the previous three is a little bit of a letdown. But the quality is pretty good. Like I said, it looks more like a film element movie, although there is no grain in the film because it still is a digital movie. Pretty good picture. I gotta tell you, I actually liked it. The audio. This is where it gets a little weird. This has a 7.1 DTS HD MA audio sound presentation. Now, what's weird about that is you would think that would make it a better sound, right? Believe it or not, this is where it gets weird. It doesn't. There are a lot more through the conversion of DTS HD to DTS-X neutral audio. There was a lot less overhead effects with 7 channels of audio in this movie than there was in the previous 3 films. And I can't blame it on 7.1 audio technology because there's plenty of 7.1 audio movies I watch that are just in DTS HD MA that translate quite well with overhead effects when I watch them. Unfortunately, this one doesn't. It has what I would call a more distant, more faint virtual element with overhead effects and not so direct. So don't expect too much out of the audio in this movie. But it does have good points in the film to where it does play pretty good on overhead effects. It's just not constant like it is in the first 3 films, which is kind of sad. But overall, I did like this movie. And that's all there is to say about the Bourne Legacy. I'll see you guys next time for my review of Jason Bourne. Until then.